Hey everybody, it is Andrea here at VW Family Farm, and today I'm out in the barn and I want to do a series of videos, this being the first one on rabbits. We have had a ton of questions ever since we kind of showed you guys that we were getting back into rabbits. It's something we wanted to do because we had a small petting zoo here, but also we want to do things, although we live on a large farm, our homestead started on about 5 acres, and even before that, it was on a smaller area than that. And so we want to continue to showcase how you can homestead on a small acreage. And the fact remains, we still do most of our homesteading on the small original 5 acres we started on. Our cattle operation has taken on a big farm, a lot of the rest of the land. We live on about 700 acres that we share with family. But our homestead basically consists of this 5 acres or less. So rabbits are a super easy animal to raise. They have lots of benefits other than just their meat. Their fertilizer is awesome for growing a good garden and different things. So we want to show those things to you and how you guys can do that on a small space. It is possible even to do that in an apartment or indoors because rabbits are not necessarily banned like chickens might be for livestock. Rabbits can be considered pets. So that's a great option if you're living somewhere where you have restrictions. Landlords possibly might let you have rabbits, and that's something good to know. So this video is going to be, you've now gotten rabbits, and this video is going to be about breeding them. So we actually purchased the breed Tamux. They are TAMUK, and that stands for Texas A&M University at Kingsville. That's where this breed was developed. It is a cross of a bunch of different types of rabbits. For breeding in the heat is the main thing, because in the summer in the south there's just a pretty good span there where rabbits either can't breed because they're just too hot, or they just won't. The bucks go sterile, different things like that. So this breed was developed, and it also has a lot of other great benefits like good milk production, good litters, lots of fertility, all different things that went into making this breed. They're called a composite breed, and if you look that up, that a shortened, simple version of that means they could look like anything when they come out. So we've got black ones, brown ones, spotted ones. They're really pretty and really cool looking. I like that about them a lot. So you could get, who knows what colors you could get. That's really good if you want to sell some of these as pets. People like colored rabbits, so that's really great. So let's get to, now you've got rabbits, but you need to know, probably before you buy them, but if you've bought them being told they were males or females or whatever, now you need to verify that before you start your breeding program. So the first step to breeding your rabbits is to figure out what is males and what is females. So we are about to sex all 5 of these rabbits. We know what we were told when we bought them, but we need to verify. And plus, I kind of want to show you guys how to do it in case you get into rabbits. It's just a really good skill to know. You don't want to put 2 males together and then fight, or 2 females. You could cause some problems. So let's get to it, and I'll show you what we're doing. So you can see Lane has got it by the scruff of the neck. He's not hurting it, he's actually securing it. He's got it cradled kind of like a baby. They like to be held close. They don't like to be just out flopping around where they feel like unsecure. And so we are just gonna look right here. So be careful, these feet are really strong, so we're just gonna move those out of the way. We're gonna use our hand, and we're gonna have to just spread this where we can see. You gotta get the fur back out of the way. And we were told this is a female, and it is. So I'm going to tell you how I can tell. You can see like it almost, the line there almost looks like, they call it a taco. I'm going to show you the difference in a male and a female, but that is definitely a female. You can see that line vertically. If it was male, it would look different, and again, I'll show you that in a second. So I actually love this one. I'm really hoping it's a female. I think it is, but it's not. This is a male. So you can see the difference. There's no taco, there's no line. There's a circle on the top, and so you can see instead of a slit, there's a circle where he urinates. So this is a male. We thought this was a female, but it's not. We wind up with 1 male and 4 females, so that is really great. That's what we wanted. 1 buck, which is the male rabbit, could actually handle more than these 4, but he'll definitely be able to do the job for these 4. So that is fantastic news. We do have 1 male and 4 females. And our favorite rabbit actually is the male. So that's really great. We like his markings and different things. Like I said, they could turn out any which way, any color, any markings, but I'm just happy with how it turned out. So now we are going to start the breeding process. So one important thing to note, and I want to pause right here and give credit where credit is due. I've learned so much about rabbits from Kevin and Sarah over at Living Traditions. They're friends of ours, but even before that, we watched their channel. They have a whole rabbit series, and they've given me a lot of knowledge. So this video is based on some of their videos as well as my own research and own experience. But I think sometimes on YouTube, we pass off information as if we thought it up, and we don't give credit to other videos we've watched or other places we've researched. So I just want to do that right now. Thank you, Kevin and Sarah, for all the great information you've put out about rabbits over the years. We really appreciate it. So back to rabbit breeding. First important thing to note is, and this was told to us years ago when we first got rabbits for the very first time, when you are going to breed, take the female to the male. Don't take the male out of his cage and put him in a new environment, because he is the one that has to do the breeding. And if you put him in a new environment, you could shock him. He could just be too interested in a new place. There's all kinds of number of things that could keep him from doing his job in a timely manner, because you're going to put him in there and verify that he breeds her, but then you're going to leave for a little bit, because unless you just want to sit out in your barn, and you're going to want him to be breeding her, not walking around smelling, not doing anything because he's in a new place, because he's uncomfortable, or just whatever the case may be. Leave him in his cage, in his environment. Take the female to him. So we're gonna put the doe in with the buck. I'm just gonna start down here on this end and work my way around. Our pens are kind of in an L shape, so I'm gonna go ahead and put her in there. So once you have her in there with him, you are probably going to see them start running around right away. Okay, so you can see in that clip, after we put the doe in with the buck, you could see it took just a minute, and then he bred her. And at the end of a successful breeding, the buck will actually like tense up and fall off. So if that happens, you know you've had a successful breeding. You want that to happen about 3 times. That's giving you the most chance of successfully getting your doe pregnant. So I stood here and 2 happened right off the bat. Now I can go and do other things and come back in a little bit and just take her on out, put her back in her own pen. I could do that right now after it's happened twice. And in fact, as I'm standing here, it has happened again. So I could go ahead and put her up. You can go ahead and breed your buck to 3 different does in a day. That's about max. You would want to do it like in the morning time, and then midday, and then in the evening. And then you need to give him about a 24-hour rest before you start all that again. I'm not going to personally do that. I'm going to do 1 a day. There's 4 does out here, so I'll just do that 4 days this week. And then when we start having babies, they'll just be 1 day, and then so on and so on. It will be about a calendar month, around 30 days when they start to have babies. And that will be on a future video. I'll tell you what all you need to do to get ready for that, and what you need to have on hand, and what you need to look out for. But for today, we're just starting this process, and it's really exciting. So in about a month, we should be having rabbit babies. One interesting thing about rabbits, they're in a classification along with some other animals like cats and camels and a few other animals, but they actually do not just have an egg sitting there waiting to be fertilized. They don't release the egg until after they are bred. So they're in, that's what I was talking about, kind of a constant state of heat. So at any time, they could go ahead and release that egg. Now there is a couple days within like a 16-day period, there's like 2 days where they wouldn't be receptive to breeding, and you might see a lot of running around where they might just not even let the buck breed. So how many babies can you expect? Well, a rabbit could easily have 10 babies. So while you don't want to breed your females too early, you do want to go ahead and breed them. These that we have purchased are probably a bit older than you would want them to be, but if you don't start breeding in like a timely manner with rabbits, you're not really giving them a chance to give you a large litter, because their litters are going to increase as they go. So males are ready to breed around 4 months old, females a bit later, around 6 months. And I would suggest going ahead and starting because of the fact, like I said, their litters are going to increase. You want to go ahead and have those early litters so that you have a long breeding time with them to get good litters out of them. So let's talk about how many rabbits can you expect out of a doe in a year. Well, this is a crazy fact. If you left a doe in with a buck all the time, so that means after she has a litter, she's pretty much fertile almost immediately. She could potentially, are you ready? She could potentially have 168 babies or kits in a year. Now that is not healthy for her. In fact, she probably wouldn't even survive the year because having to raise and nurse all those babies and being in a constant state of pregnancy. But it is possible. But let's say you do a good breeding program, but your doe still has lower numbers. So let's say that you do a pretty conservative approach. You get them bred, and then you give them the 30 days to have their litter. You let them nurse that litter for 6 weeks. And then you let them have a 3-week rest period. So on average, you've done 4 weeks of pregnancy, 6 weeks of nursing, and 3 weeks of rest period. So 13 weeks between litters. So you do the math, you could do about 4 litters per year. And she had just pretty conservative litters. Like let's say she only has 6 of them that she successfully raises and nurses and they make it to maturity. You still could potentially have 24 rabbits that you raised out for meat from each doe. So you can see, you can fall anywhere on that spectrum from 24 to 168. One doe is going to produce a lot of meat for your family. More than likely, our approach will be get them bred, let them have the litter, and then 3 or 4 weeks into them nursing, we will go ahead and rebreed them because at least halfway through their second pregnancy, we would be removing the babies from her and she would have a few weeks to rest, milk dry up, get ready to nurse the next litter. And that would be fine for the doe as long as you're feeding them well, keeping an eye on them, and all of those things. So that's just a little bit about what you could expect. I think it is a fantastic meat source for small farmers, for people in small spaces, or for people in large spaces that just want a good quality source of meat for your family. And maybe you don't want to raise meat chickens. This is a great alternative. I hope that something I've said has helped you. I'm going to go ahead and get this doe out of this pen and back to her own pen, and then we will repeat this tomorrow for the next 4 days and get all these does bred. And then I just can't wait to get this going. It's going to be a great thing for our family. I'm looking into the laws and regulations on whether this is meat that we could sell or not. You just need to check your local area and abide by all the laws that you have there so you don't get yourself into any trouble. And I will see you guys later. Thanks for watching and hanging out with me. I appreciate you guys so much. I hope you have a great holiday season, and I'll be seeing you in a few days. Thanks for watching. God bless.